Good morning, 5th grade. Today we're going to continue reading in our novel, HPF Chapters 28 and 29. We have a fill in the blank, so let's get ready to read. One day, as the caravan of miracles is traveling in Pennsylvania, a hot air balloon comes crashing down out of the sky. Then Tally and Bernard try to catch it. And Homer runs after them. Bern and Homer grab the anchor and get swept up into the sky with the hot air balloon. Eventually, they crash into a tree. When they all get down, the pilot of the aircraft, Mr. Bobbins, tells the crew that he conducts surveillance for the aircraft of the Union Army. However, he has failed in his mission and the program will be ended. All of a sudden, the Union Army rides over the hill to arrest Professor Fleabottom and his crew. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. It says, what can we infer about the characters based on the language that describes them? Our vocabulary words are muffle, and that's when you make a sound less quiet or distinct. So if you were trying to talk through your lips, like this picture, the sound would be muffled. The next word is front, and in wartime, a front is the line of battle where two armies are coming together to fight. And so this is an example of a battlefront. And then the third one is con artist. And that's a person who cheats or tricks others by persuading them to believe something that's not true. So we have a wolf dressed up like a sheep to try to trick the sheep so he can eat them. So the wolf is a con artist. Go ahead and turn the page, and we're on page 153 in our text. We're going to use our CSPS strategy the first time we read so that we can understand what's going on. I'm at in less than. In less time than it takes to whistle Yankee Doodle, we're surrounded by a squad of grim-faced soldiers on horseback, all of them pointing long rifles in our faces. "Keep your hands in plain view," one of them shouts. "Anybody moves, they are done for." The captain dismounts from his horse. He's a tall, fine-looking fellow, taller than Professor Fleabottom, with piercing dark eyes and a nose like a hawk. Like the hawk, he has the look of a dangerous creature, one who may attack without warning. He adjusts the cuffs of his white leather gloves, then strides up to the campfire and demands a cup of coffee. "Are these true coffee beans?" he wants to know, seizing a battered tin mug. "Or have you taken up the rebel habit of adding chicory?" Tally, who is tending the fire, looks like he don't know what to do or say. All right, and we'll stop right there because we have information about our character and the setting. In this first paragraph, we learn that Homer and the crew are surrounded by Union soldiers who want to arrest them. So in box 1A, we would write, Homer and the crew are surrounded by Union soldiers who want to arrest them. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 1B. And for the quote, you would write down this first sentence on page 153. In less time than it takes to whistle Yankee Doodle, we are surrounded by a squad of grim-faced soldiers on horseback, all of them pointing long rifles in our faces. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the setting. If we go down to the middle of the page, we know that the captain walks over to the campfire to get coffee. So that lets us know that everyone is outside by the campfire. So in 2A, we would write Homer, the crew, Mr. Bobbins, and the Union soldiers are outside by the campfire. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. We will write down this quote on page 153. He adjusts the cuffs of his white leather gloves, then strides up to the campfire and demands a cup of coffee. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. We'll turn the page in our text so that we can keep reading. Here we go. Cat got your tongue? The captain demands. Or is it General Lee who has charge of your tongue? Tally glances helplessly at Professor Fleabottom, who gathers himself up and says, We beg your kindness, Captain. This man is simple-minded. Your sudden arrival has confused him. The captain snorts and puts his hand upon the pistol holstered at his waist. Simple-minded, is he? I doubt that. Maybe the recruiters fall for such nonsense, but not me. Please, you are welcome to coffee, or indeed to any food we may have, the professor says, sounding rather grand. Would your men like biscuits and jam, sir? Our cook may be simple, but he makes a very fine biscuit. Or, if you prefer, we have sufficient bottles of my, special elixir. The captain gulps his coffee, spits some of it back, and drops the mug in the fire. Then he strides full up to the professor, so close they almost bump chests. You'd addle the brains of my men with your moonshine whiskey? He asked very quiet. Is that your plan of escape? Get us drunk and sneak away? Elixir for what ails you, responds the professor, holding his ground. Whiskey, roars the captain. Cheap whiskey. Minnie dabs a hanky to her eyes, weeping. Bert and Tally both look like they want to bolt, but don't dare for fear of getting a bullet in the back. Mr. Bobbins just looks confused. And me, I'm thinking when the shooting starts, I'll climb the tree and hide in the branches like a squirrel. The captain whips a folded piece of paper out of his pocket and reads it. Reginald Robertson Crockett, also known as Fenton J. Fleabottom. As the duly authorized representative of the United States of America, I place you under arrest for the felony crime of treason. Looking up from the paper, he adds the specific and mortal crime of passing military intelligence to the enemy. Seize him. Okay, and we'll stop right there because we have the problem. We know in box 3A we would write Professor Fleabottom is accused of treason. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. We would write down this quote at the top of page 155. Reginald Robertson Crockett, also known as Fenton J. Fleabottom, as the duly authorized representative of the United States of America, I'll place you under arrest for the felony crime of treason. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 4. Let's keep reading on page 155 to find the solution. 4 soldiers grab the professor, one for each limb. Not that he's fighting them. The professor looks disappointed in the poor captain, but he don't struggle as they slip irons around his wrists and ankles. My dear captain, there has been a mistake. I freely confess to selling elixir to the troops. You have me there, fair and square. I further admit that what I call elixir is really whiskey with a little flavoring of red clover cough syrup. But never would I betray my country, not for $1 million in gold. The captain narrows his hawk eyes, looking crafty. I believe you, sir, that you would not willingly betray your country. You have that air about you. But the truth is, your country is the Confederacy, and therefore you are a spy and a traitor and will pay the price. That's a lie! Bring me a Bible, and I will swear upon it. The captain smiles and leans in, his sharp little chin not an inch from the professor's yellow mustache. I am not so easily persuaded. It is well known that men who swear lying oaths upon the Bible believe that God is on their side and will protect them despite the lie. But God Almighty will not answer in this instance. Turn the page. We have you dead to rights, Mr. Crockett. You are well known in Virginia as a staunch advocate of the Southern Rebellion, and Union spy catchers have been on your trail for months. The professor looks puzzled. Crockett? Who is this Crockett you refer to? My name is Fleabottom. You have mistaken me for another man. That is your defense? Mistaken identity? My defense is that I'm innocent, the professor protests. What exactly is it you think I've done? The captain stands back, readjusting his white leather gloves. Do you deny you have been making inquiries about the movement of troops? Of course I deny it. An absurd idea. I'd never. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes. That has to be it. I know what has happened and why you have been deceived. The professor is smiling now, looking much relieved. It's the boy over there, the small one cowering by the elm tree, Homer Fig by name. He's much concerned about finding his older brother, who was sworn as a replacement and may be underage. We'll stop right there, because we have information about a possible solution. In box 4A, we would write Professor Fleabottom tries to explain that Homer is the reason he's been asking about the Union troops. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. Homer Fig by name. He's much concerned with finding his older brother who was sworn as a replacement troop and may be underage. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. It says, what can we infer about Professor Fleabottom based on the language that describes him? So you need to think about what kind of person is Professor Fleabottom. Do you think that he is a traitor and that he's been a spy this whole time? Or do you think that he's innocent and he's been set up?